Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Haverhill Town Council Planning Working Party online. Apologies for absence, please, Vicky.
Councillor Lucarini and Mayor Smith.
Thank you. Is there any other apologies? Okay. Item 2, declarations of interest and request for dispensation. Anyone? No? Okay. Minutes of the previous meeting, please. Vicky, can you get it up, or Colin? May I sign these as a true record? Can I have a proposer, please, and a seconder? Proposed Councillor Andre. Bear with me. Can I have a seconder? That's Councillor Brown. Okay, all those in favour, please show. I hope that you can see my hand. Yeah, you can. Right, that's carried. Thank you very much. Right, Colin, page, whatever it is, I can't see it. Go up a bit, please. Thank you. 80. Right, 81. 82. We objected to that one. Fox. Thank you, Vicky, for that. It's quite a lot of data put in there.
That was Colin.
Oh, Colin. Thank you, Colin. Yes, you're correct. 83. Continuation of that data been put in. Item 2, we objected to that one. Item 3 was neutral. Page 84. Item 4 was neutral. And I think that's it, is it, Colin? Yeah, thank you. Matters arising from those minutes. Is there anyone that's got any matters arising at all? No? Okay. Item 5, for members of the public. There's no members of the public. Is there, Colin, at all? No? Good. Item 6, which is consider planning applications. Application 1, which is DC 24 0579 FUL, and this is micro energy storage facility, and this from Mr. Thomas Fox Davis, AMP Clean Energy 10 Homefield Road. This is a 200 kilowatt storage. It helps to cut down on fossil fuels when energy demands are high. It's next to a substation and on the verge. Is there any comments on this at all? Councillor Cox.
I couldn't necessarily have a look through unless I couldn't see who's it going to benefit and what the benefits are. I tried to look at the drawings and stuff, but unless I've missed it, I couldn't. It's a private company, so are we going to gain, or is it just a single house that's going to gain? I couldn't. I mean, unless anybody else has got any details, I couldn't see. I couldn't argue either way because I can't see disadvantages, advantages. I saw that it's already been from oh dear, from somebody who were quite happy with it. I'm sure it's West Suffolk were happy with it, or one of the teams were. But it's again, is there an advantage for it for Haverhill? Is it just going to be a private company making money? I couldn't be clear on that, so I don't know where I stand on it.
Councillor Andre, then Councillor Brown. You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. The project is to provide a backup for the grid at times of high demand. There have been problems occasionally on our industrial estates where the demand has exceeded the supply available, and it's entirely proper to make provision to support that increased demand from a sustainable resource and not from using fossil fuels. It's an important development in that respect. In terms of the land where it's based, it needs to be next to a substation in order to feed into the grid. And this is an ideal location on a spot that's got virtually no other use. It is literally a grass verge. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Andre. Perhaps Councillor Cox was somewhere else, but I did mention that. Right, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, no, Councillor Andre said exactly what I was going to say, so yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Anyway, Councillor Andre had a much better explanation than I did. Councillor Cox, I saw you put your hand up again.
I did lose connection. I don't know why. So I think I did miss that explanation and I had to join back in again. So my apologies.
As I said, Councillor Andre done a much better explanation than I did. Right, thank you. Can I have a proposer of whatever you want, of course? Councillor Andre?
I propose that we support the application.
I think the word is welcome, is it, Vicky?
Okay.
Am I correct?
I think support is quite strong, but you can support it.
Right, if he's right, I thought we couldn't say that word anymore. Okay. Councillor Andre, proposing support. Councillor Brown, you're muted.
I wasn't going to say support. I was going to say neutral. I think the support's a bit too, in my opinion, it's a bit too strong. To be fair, it's private company. Potentially, well, anyway, I would just say neutral. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We got two. We want a seconder for the first proposal. Is that correct, Colin?
Well, Chair, I was just going to ask, it was an interesting reaction you gave to Councillor Andre's proposal for support. So we've currently been told that it's object, neutral or support. And I'm interested, given you're a district councillor and therefore privy to more information than the rest of us, you think that support has been supplanted by a welcome?
You two saying that to me?
I'm asking the question because you were the one that said that you weren't sure whether parish councils, just for other councillors and for anyone viewing.
I haven't heard anything, any word into that. It's just I thought that because there's new word in, neutral and things like that we had some time ago, and I thought that we couldn't say support anymore.
That's perfectly possible, but I haven't personally heard it. So across the county, different planning authorities recommend a range of responses. So, for instance, in Mid Suffolk, you would recommend approval or recommend refusal, and similar in East Suffolk. So, if West Suffolk have suggested that support is out of favour and they prefer parish councils to either object, welcome, or be neutral, then that's absolutely fine. But we need to be told it. We've not been told that officially, although the Deputy Clerk has a hand up, so perhaps I'm not privy to something.
Yeah, Vicky.
The three options came from when you post them on the planning portal through the town council or parish or consultee or neighbour or whatever comments. There was three options. So that's what we decided on using because of those three options that it gave us. But we actually do go through a slightly different process when we post our comments. So we have decided, and it was voted on in this committee, to use neutral, support or object, but we can put further comments in the box. I hope that cleared it up.
Yes, as Vicky, yeah, very much so. Right, as Councillor Andre was the first to propose support, do we have a seconder for the support? Right, I second. My hand up went first, so I second that. Can we have a vote on then? So can we have support for this one? Please, Joe. Against? No, right, okay, that's carried. Thank you very much, support. Thank you very much. Application 2, which is DC 240382 HH, reconsultation, small a, 2-storey side extension over existing garage, small b, single-storey rear extension, and this is Mr. Paul Mitchell, 3 Howard Close. Just to note that the Town Council were neutral with this previous application. It looks like now it's going to be a 5-bedroom from a 4-bedroom extension. And also I noted that there was another living room, dining room and kitchen next to the garage, separate. I can't find anything about, because of that, I can't find anything about being an HMO, because it seems funny that there's a separate living room, dining, kitchen. Over to you. Is there any comments at all? No? Right, okay. Can I have a neutral then for this? Councillor Brown? Propose neutral?
Propose neutral.
Thank you. Councillor Cox is second that, I presume? Yeah? Okay. All those in favour, please show. That's carried. Yeah. Thank you. Application 3, DC 240596 HH. Single-storey front extension. This is Mrs. Krista Seal. This is 73 Downs Crescent. And this is, it looks what looks like a shower and a toilet. I may be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. Okay, any comments at all? No? Can I have a proposer for neutral then, please? Councillor Cox saw first, then second by Councillor Andre. All those in favour, please show. Thank you, carried. Application 4, DC 240591 HH, small a, 2-storey side extension, small b, first floor side and rear extension, small c, cladding to the first floor. And this is Mr. Brad Butler, 25 Henderson Close. And this is going from a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom. And I've noted that there's no on-street parking for an extra car. In other words, 3 cars. Any comments on this one? No? Okay. Can I have a proposer then for neutral? Councillor Brown? Can I have a seconder for neutral? Councillor Cox. All those in favour, please show. Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Back to the agenda, which is item 7, and this is matters to report. Any matters to report at all? Councillor Andre.
Colleagues may recall our concerns about development of a site in Faulkner Road by a company called McFlitch back in September. The follow-ups to that were that an application had been requested, but no planning application has yet been submitted to either West Suffolk or to Suffolk County Council. It would appear that no enforcement action has still been taken, and I'm still receiving concerns from other companies nearby who have had to go through the planning process. What on earth is going on? There appears to be no enforcement, despite the reassurances that there was going to be enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Burns?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that reminds me, Councillor Andre just saying that I know Councillor Luperini is dealing with one near the Arts Centre that's been going on for 3 years with no enforcement. and I don't know well, I know what's wrong with enforcement at West Suffolk, and I'm not going to repeat what I've said before. However, I do know that this company, it's not McFletch is where the old place was. It's Haynes something. Well, I can't remember what it's called.
Whittington.
That's
Whittington Recycling, yeah.
Yeah. They're actually got a big open day on the 1st of June because that's when they're going to be opening. I hadn't realised they hadn't done for planning application or anything. I assumed it would all been done while I was otherwise indisposed. But yeah, so that's just for information. Yeah, I don't know what is going on.
I thought, to be fair, sorry, Chair, I thought to be fair, the open day is for Danes and Low. They're the people that did go through all the planning process. They're having their yard opening on that day. The McFletch yard, actually, what Whittington Recycling have moved into, did actually have planning permission from Suffolk County Council to carry out the work that they did when it was McFletch back in, I think, 2013, 2014. So from what I gather is that planning permission is just rolled over to Whittington. I think there is some contention around a building that's there, but I think that's potentially being looked at. But the actual, recycling and what they're actually doing there, I understand that was actually allowed to go through in 2014 at Suffolk County Council. So that's what's happening, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I come back, Chair?
Yeah, I'll let Councillor Andre come back first, and then you.
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
The application in 2013 is no longer valid, surely, with 11 years further on. So it can't be valid now, and it certainly doesn't cover the use that's proposed, which is a lot of extra vehicle activity and an enormous building. We're not talking about a little shed. We're talking about a huge warehouse-sized building. This is a substantial development. Would it reasonably expect enforcement to have acted to get some kind of application in, even if it's only a revision to the original McFletch application? It's outrageous that people can go ahead with this planning. We have raised it. It's known to the enforcement people, and no action is being taken. There is absolutely no point in us continuing to hold these meetings and express our views if no enforcement action is ever taken. It's a nonsense. It's a waste of our time, and it's an insult to councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Andre. Councillor Burns?
Yeah, I think Councillor Andre basically says it all. I think it's this is not the first time, and it won't be the last. The West Suffolk enforcement have just done nothing for years. As I say, the one that Councillor Lucarini is looking at is now 3 years old, and he had a meeting just this week where I understand enforcement turned around and says, "Oh, we could do something," but that's 3 years after the business has decided to not only stick two fingers up at the planning process, but also built another building without permission, which now the council are saying, well, if they applied for it, they'd probably get it. I've had this before. If they applied for it, they may get it. Well, they haven't applied, so they don't get it. That's my view anyway. But yeah, I think that's a very good point, Councillor Andre. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cox?
Is there a way we could actually invite one of the enforcement officers to either a town council meeting or to a planning meeting, and they can try and justify their lack of response to us as a town council?
Yeah, there's nothing to stop us, is there, asking as a town council? No. Whether they turn up, I don't know, because it's an evening meeting we hold. I've got no idea. Colin, is there any comments on this that you can sort of give, help us out with?
Thank you, Chair. Well, in terms of inviting officers to meetings, yes, I think it's perfectly reasonable to invite them, but to explain the planning enforcement process, I think if you are going to invite planning officers, enforcement officers, with the intention to lambast them for your perceived, and I apologise for saying it, your perceived objections, then quite rightly that will be intervened, and more senior officers at West Suffolk will not allow them to attend. We need to understand on behalf of the electorate what the circumstances are in which a enforcement action can take place. And I think Councillor Burns did make the point that if something would have got planning permission anyway, then the law, that's not the individual council officers, that's the law, says there isn't any action to be had. And I think as long as members are prepared to accept that they may not entirely enjoy the explanations that are given by the enforcement team, but would accept in good faith what they're told, we're happy to invite them along. But planning is frustrating. Planning is hugely frustrating. It's also split between two councils. So we've just been hearing about a waste treatment application, which is not under West Suffolk, it's under Suffolk County Council. And for all we know, West Suffolk officers may be seething that they have no say in these things. So I think, yes, happy to arrange it, happy to talk to people and try and put something together. But we can't treat it as a firing squad. We need to treat it as, let's hear what the people have to say. Let's try and understand it from their point of view. And we can make our points clear. All our councillors are mandated to make their points, but it has to be in context.
Colin, could we say to the enforcement department that we want to ask the question on law of enforcement? Could we say that to them? Absolutely.
I mean, inviting enforcement officers in to understand the framework in which they work, I think, is an extremely sensible thing to do.
Thank you. Councillor Andre, I'll come back to Councillor Andre because he's the one that sort of asked the question. And then I'll come to you, Councillor Burns.
I'm entirely satisfied that if we can get someone down to ask what the procedures are and what the problems are that we possibly can help with, then that's fine. But as the town clerk has said, I have a responsibility to the people who vote for us, and I have to satisfy them. Not least among them is actually the neighbours of this development, Danes and Low, who have a good point. They went to several hoops to get their application approved, and they're quite incensed that these people have just gone ahead without any by leave or permissions. I am concerned that it is a symptom of enforcement that it doesn't seem to happen in Haverhill, and that needs to be addressed. But maybe that's not the appropriate thing to ask an individual officer about. But certainly we can ask officers to advise us on what makes enforcement possible and what we can do to help that process. Thanks,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor Burns.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think one of the problems we're having with enforcement, and I've had it loads of times, is that they do not follow up the enforcement action, even if they can't do anything. Yes, the NPPF, and as Colin says, covers a lot of those sort of things, but to leave it 3 years before they even bother to answer a serving councillor about something is scandalous. They should at least come back even a week after the once they register that complaint and give you a reference number, they should look into it and come back to you within a certain time period, a couple of months, and say, yes, we can do something, or no, we can't. And if it's no, then fine, that's the end of the process. But if it's yes, and then you can go back to the residents or businesses and say, right, well, this is the reason why we can't do anything. But equally, 3 years. I mean, we've had it where we've had businesses that have gone on for over 10 years, not being chased for enforcement, and eventually it gets to the 10-year time limit and they can do what they like anyway. So I think getting somebody to come along and explain themselves would be really good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cox.
I think, I don't know if it was Councillor Andre, whether you raised this previously, because I think we did have a chat. I remember having the chat about this previously. And if I remember rightly, this particular company, from my recollection, is that they had a record of potentially doing this previously in other areas from what had been found out. And I think it's just based on what Councillor Andre said, I think I would support the idea if someone could explain and then at least hear our frustrations. And I think on what Colin said, it wouldn't be about lambasting them, because I think, yeah, I think the fact is it wouldn't be professional, but I think the fact is in trying to sort of at least hold them to account, say, look, this is our position, nothing's happening. And I think it does make a mockery of having planning permission. If you say, well, it would have been given, well, let's not bother having planning permission then, because, oh, if we think it might have been given, we'll just tell everybody, we'll just go for it. And if somebody stops you, somebody stops you. And then then you have chaos. And I think that's not a standard I would want us to follow. So I would entirely support getting something just to explain, because then I think I can totally support Councillor Andre's frustration, because we should all echo that frustration. And I think it's just trying to get that clarification would be helpful for all of us, and for me still trying to learn. Yeah, that would be helpful. I mean, you're all quite experienced, and if these situations, like Councillor Burns has said, 3 years on and we've still not got a response, I mean, that's just not appropriate, and it means that our position becomes a bit pointless. And as Councillor Andre said, it would then be no point having these meetings if we haven't got any body responding to what we're saying. So anyway, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, what we really need to do is go back through the minutes, back to 2013 or 2014, when the actual application to turn that into a recycling yard was put through. I was at the meeting, I was at the Suffolk County Council then as well, and it went through, and I happened to use the business park opposite there, and I can remember going up there seeing mountains of crushed stone up there. So that has been ongoing there for 10 years, and it did have planning permission from Suffolk County Council. Now, it's got planning permission to carry out that type of work there. It doesn't matter who owns it at the time. It's like a business premises. If it's a licensed premises and there's new owners, that generally that type of business can still carry on there. And as far as I'm aware, when we contacted Suffolk County Council through Councillor Roach, that's what they're saying, is that basically that was given, and we as town council would have commented on it at the time. They were given permission. The thing is, at the time there was no other people carrying out that type of work in that area, so no one really was too concerned around it. But I can assure you that has got planning permission. And also I talked to West Suffolk Council about it when it was raised again the other week, and they said that they'd had no complaints since the last complaints that they went down to several months previous to that. They had no communication or complaints from other people on there until we got the email the other week. I'm just saying that's the other side of the story. Okay.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. Councillor Burns.
Very quickly, I found the county council application. Retrospective application, retention of existing access track and hard stand for the storage of inert materials arising from demolition activities, including broken concrete, brick, timber, clays and soils, use the site for concrete and brick crushing and wood chipping.
That's it.
So if they're not doing that, then that needs another application of some sort.
Well, I gather that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was 16th of October 2013.
Councillor Andre, have you got any comment on what's just been said?
The use of the site may well be similar to what it was then. To use that planning consent 11 years later as reason for building on there now is outrageous. We're not talking about just the use, we're talking about a large building, a very large building. And that would need its own consent in its own right, separate from the use of the premises. I still feel we need to find out. It's clear that the enforcement people are aware there is some kind of breach going on there, and they're doing absolutely nothing about it. We need an explanation.
Right. Can I have a proposal then that we ask the enforcement officer to attend a planning committee meeting at the Arts Centre? Can I, Councillor Cox?
Well, I'd propose, based on things that both Councillor Andre and Councillor Brown have said, I'd propose that someone comes along to be able to clarify, one, that situation, but also clarify the process of holding people to account in terms of their job and what the whys and wherefores may be, so we understand the legalities a bit more. That may help in terms of a wider understanding, but also we can clarify the situation that currently in front of us.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Andre. All those in favour, please show. Okay, that's carried. Have you got that, Vicky? Yeah. Opposed? Yeah. Okay. Item 8, which is the date of the next meeting, which is Monday, 3rd of June. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Vicky. Can you stop the live stream, please, Colin?
Do you declare the meeting closed, Chair?
Meeting is now closed, yeah. Stop the live stream, please.
2020.